Hey guys, it's Charlene. Today I'm sharing the new Simon Says Stamp Card Kit. You can see it comes with an ink pad and seafoam, some craft tacky glue, a little treat, a small blending brush in teal, a 3x3 small cloud stencil set, some watercolor cards. These are super cute. And then it also comes with some Hoppy Easter sentiment strips, as well as an A2 envelope in white and metallic silver. Then there are 6 sheets of Paper Rose Wildflower Field 6x6 double-sided paper. So there are some really pretty papers in here. I'm going to use some today. I'm really excited about it. Once we go through this kit, it's only going to take a moment. We are going to make 2 cards and they are so cute. I just love this set. It makes me feel like springtime is finally coming. So the stamp set is called Hoppy Days Ahead. It's a 6x8 stamp set, and there are some super cute little bunnies in that stamp set. Then there's also a Slimline envelope in avocado. They also include an inspiration sheet, and then there are a couple of sheets of cardstock, one in cornflower, one in smoke, and one in lavender, and then just a standard sheet of Nina 110 pound in white. And you get this nice bag. For my first card, I'm using these cute little bunnies from the Happy Days stamp set. I just thought they were so adorable with their little noses together, and I had the idea to make a wedding card because I don't have a lot of those, and I thought this would work really well. I'm doing some very basic Copic coloring here. I'm just using some C1 for some shading where there would be shading from the sun or under the bunny tail, things like that. And once I get that little bit of shading done on the bunnies, I'm going to come in and color their cute little ears. And for that, I'm using RV42 and RV95. So not a lot of coloring going on here, pretty basic. And once I have them all colored, I'm going to go ahead and cut them out off camera. And I used my scan and cut, but you also could easily fussy cut these. There's probably coordinating dies that you can purchase over at Simon Says Stamp as well if that was something that you wanted to get in addition to the kit, but I usually just purchase the kit. I don't get any dies to go along with it. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and use the Simon Says Stamp stitched rectangle dies, and I'm using these to cut out several layers. I cut out the largest one in cornflower, and then now you can see here I've cut the second largest one in white, and then the third largest one I cut out of that piece of beautiful pattern paper with all the flowers, and I've cut a piece of craft EVA foam as well so I can pop up that center piece. Now I'm just adhering the craft EVA foam on the back there with some dot runner, and then again with some dot runner I'm going to adhere that to the white piece, and then I'll use some liquid adhesive to adhere everything else. I'm using an A2 size card here, top folding, that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I do love those top folding size cards, although lately I've been doing other sizes as well. I have been doing some 5x7s, which is not my normal size of card, but I've been doing some slimlines, some mini slimlines, and it's actually really fun because you can create very different scenes using different sizes of cards. When you're making an A2 card, it's kind of a small space, so in some ways you're a little bit limited. You can't do something where you like tell a story or something like that. If you guys are enjoying this video, please do hit the subscribe button and the like button as well as that notification bell. It does help me bring you more crafty content in the future. It supports my channel and I appreciate it. All right, back to the card. Now I have got everything adhered down, and now I can come in with my cute little bunnies that I cut off camera, and I'm going to figure out where I want to put them. For the sentiment, I'm actually going to be using a stamp from the stamp set which says happily ever after. How cute is that? That's why I said I was going to make a wedding card. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it in colored ink or if I wanted to do it in black ink. Ultimately, I decided to do it in the black ink, but I think it would look really cute in colored ink as well. And that was the Simon Says stamp ink in, I believe, Cadet that I was trying out there. Ended up not using it. But you can see those stamp pads, they actually stamp really well for solid colors. All right, so I'm gluing down my cute little bunnies, and I tried out the craft tacky glue while I was making these cards. It's definitely thicker than other glue that I've used, but it did smooth out really well when I adhered things. So I didn't have any weird like bumps or lines underneath things, so that was really good. But it is a little hard to get out of the bottle because it is so thick. I think I'll probably stick with my Gina K glue, but I like having this as well. And it worked really well to adhere the pom-poms that I'm going to adhere on the bunny tails because it is a little thicker. So I think it probably has some really good applications. I just don't know that I would use it for my everyday day-to-day glue, but it was nice to have, and now I have more glue. So you can never have enough glue or sequins or double-sided adhesive. Those are all things that you're going to use, and at least for me. So now I cut out the sentiment instead of doing it the 3 pieces on top of each other, how it came as the stamp. I decided to go ahead and just use some scissors and cut out each line so that I could put it where I wanted it. And I thought that was really nice. So you could use it either way. You could use it as is, or you could cut them out like I did. So I put the Hoppy down first, the After down second, and then I put Ever down in the center, which made it easier for me to make sure that Ever was centered. So now I'm coming in and I'm going to glue those cute little pom-poms on the bunny tails. I will probably need to go buy more pom-poms because I plan on making some more bunny cards, and adding the little pom-pom is everything. It's just really cute. It makes me smile every time I see these cute little bunny tails sticking off the page here. So you can see you don't have to get super fancy. I am coming in and I'm stamping 2 of the hearts that came with the set. I wasn't sure what size I wanted to use, but I'm just coloring in those hearts again with the RV42 and the RV95 because I want to put a little heart over where the little bunnies would be kissing. I think that's kind of cute. So I decided to stamp them both because I wasn't sure what size I wanted to use. Ultimately, I am using here the smallest of the 2 hearts that I stamped out, and I'm going to pop that up on a piece of foam tape. I think it just adds a nice little touch to the card. Now I am using what is left over from where I cut out the frame from the pattern paper, and I've just trimmed it down a little bit so it's even on all sides. And now I can glue that on the inside of my card, which will give you an interesting thing to look at when you open the card, and it also makes a nice spot to write your message to whoever you're sending this to. I think it also helps to tie in the front of the card to the inside of the card. I've been doing this a lot. I'll do a scrap piece of paper, or if I have a frame like this, I'll put it on the inside, or I'll try and stamp something on the inside, something, just something to tie it in together instead of having a kind of boring white inside to your card. Now I'm using some Wink of Stella to cover the cute little heart as well as those bunny ears because I wanted to have a little bit of shine and sparkle on the card when you turn it in the light, but I didn't want to put any sequins down or jewels or anything like that because I felt like the floral pattern on this pattern paper was already so bright and pretty. I didn't want to add any more extra stuff onto the card. But that's going to complete the card. I think it's super cute. I hope you guys like it, and I hope you try something like this. I think I will be set now for any spring wedding that comes up. I'm sure there'll be a spring or a summer wedding coming up where that will fit perfectly. So now I am watercoloring one of the included cards, and I'm just watercoloring with my Distress ink, and I am using my little water brush, and I'm just going to go through this super fast with you guys. You can see I use squeezed lemonade and then mustard seed, and I just put down my light, and then I use my dark for shading, and then I come back in with my light. For the tulip, I used some pinks. I used Kitsch Flamingo and Picked Raspberry. For my leaves, I used Twisted Citron and Mowed Lawn. For the cute birdhouse, I used Gathered Twigs and Walnut Stain. And then for the bird, I used Tumbled Glass, Broken China, Mermaid Lagoon, and Spiced Marmalade. And then lastly, I did kind of this nice little wash around the outside of everything, and I did that in the tumbled glass. It kind of creates the illusion of there being a sky in the background, which is really nice. Now I've cut that out again with one of those stitched rectangle dies, and now I'm going to stamp out my sentiment in some VersaMark ink. I put down my anti-static powder, and now I've stamped my sentiment here in the VersaMark ink. It says sending hugs. This is included in the stamp set, and I'm just using some Ranger extra fine detail in black. I've had several people ask me how I am able to not have a ton of embossing powder sticking on my paper, and lately I have actually been using some really ultra smooth cardstock to stamp my sentiments on. It's the same cardstock that I use to do my Copic coloring on, and I'll link to that as well as everything else I'm using down in the description. It is really easy to heat emboss on, especially if you have any kind of embossing powder. Like that black embossing powder for some reason tends to stick to everything. So I use this cardstock in particular when I'm using that embossing powder for sure, because it's so smooth. It just helps the embossing powder slide right off. And then there's just a couple of little areas where I might need to brush off the extra and things like that. So now I have cut out a piece of black cardstock, and I have cut it so that there's a super, super thin border around the card panel. It's probably about a 1/16 or maybe even a 32nd of an inch, really, really, really thin black border. I thought that would look nice on this card. And so then again, I'm using an A2 size card, top folding, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. For this card, I was trying to have kind of minimal dimensions. So I didn't use any foam tape anywhere on this card. I didn't pop anything up. Really, the only dimension that's going to be on here is I will add some little embellishments when I am done at the end, but that's about it. So I'm going to do a matching frame here for my sentiment. That is a good way when you are working with frames to tie in a sentiment to the rest of the card if you're not going to pop it up. It just adds a little bit more interest to your sentiment. So it's not just kind of just this white rectangle just floating there. That's why it looks so nice when you pop up sentiments using foam tape, is because it gives that added little dimension, and this frame kind of mimics that. It gives an interesting thing to look at. I'm just going to come in with my mini trimmer. I love to use this when I am trimming really small pieces or just want to get a little bit off of a card panel. It's nice to have this extra trimmer. It's totally not necessary. Obviously, you could use scissors or something like that, but I like knowing that I will get a perfectly straight edge and there won't be any human error involved. If I can avoid that, that's always good. And then you can see off camera, I did go in with a white gel pen and I added lots of little accents around on the card. I also added some Wink of Stella to the bird and those embellishments there. All right, guys, those are my 2 cards. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like taking a look at the kit. I hope you'll get some crafting done today. And again, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button as well as that notification bell. Until next time, happy crafting!